Welcome to Happy Planned Homeschool. If you're new here, my name is Tanya. Thank you for being here. I am a homeschool mom to 4 kiddos, ages 8 and 9 and 3 and 5. This is going on our 7th year of homeschooling, which is crazy to think about. But in this video, we are going to talk about goals. Y'all, I thought I had my goals figured out for the school year. I really did, like just our yearly goals. And this last couple weeks, we kind of went back to school. The last week we went back to school slowly. We did some math and we did a read aloud and we kind of got into the groove of some kind of routine. And that was what was supposed to happen the next couple weeks. We'll just add in subjects slowly. And I wasn't even done like getting all the curriculum ready yet. And it just, like a wave of water, hit me all at once, and I started to get really overwhelmed. It wasn't that I felt like we were doing too much. A lot of things were just new this year. I picked a new spine. We're doing My Father's World, which is like the easiest part because it's all laid out for you. My bigs are doing book studies. My littles are doing some master book curriculum, and it was just a lot of new. I sat down and I redid my goals and I broke them down. I broke them down as being a homeschool wife, as a homeschool mom, and a homeschool teacher. And it just let me look at those different categories and able to figure out what I really wanted and the reasons why. So let's get into it. I will talk to you about my few goals that I have this school year of 2020 to 2021. And let's start with the homeschool teacher. For a homeschool teacher, I am striving for consistency. Something that is just the same rhythm that we just have as a family unit. Last year, I felt like we had a pretty good one, but I was also not consistent with art projects or science experiments or even the order we did curriculum. Like, we had the good flow, we took the breaks at the same time, but it just always could have been better. And so that's my goal this year, with so many different things that are new and components. And my littles are really going to be in this pre-K kinder age where my bigs are doing big kid stuff and more independent. Just making sure we find that flow, and when we figure out what works, don't change a thing. Also, as a homeschool teacher, I want to do 2 big deep dives as a family unit. I want to make sure that we are going on lots of nature walks and lots of nature studies. We started last year, but again, it was not consistent about it. We kind of just did it here and there, and I want to be better. So I think we're going to implement it for every Friday. I ordered a curriculum or a course from Wild and Free, and we're just going to kind of work through that. I'm going to work through that as their teacher and just do it with them. The next deep dive I want to get into is Bible. We have always done a small devotional every morning before we start a school day at the breakfast table. But this year we're using My Father's World for spine, and it has a great Bible curriculum inside of it. And I want to make sure we go above and beyond in that Bible. I want to make sure that my bigs and I are really diving deep into the concepts, into the scriptures, and just listening to what God has to tell us this year for this school year. So it's almost 3 goals for that one area as a homeschool teacher, but my 2 deep dives in those subjects and being consistent in our schedule, I know that overwhelming feeling, if we're consistent, will not last very long if I can just get into the groove. My kids know what to expect, and then I know what to expect as well. Going into being a homeschool mom. So for the first time, I think in a long time, and maybe because of COVID and just all the things happening and we couldn't really go to too many places, but we took the whole month of June completely off. We did some fishing trips, we went to the lake, we've played in the pool, we've done a lot of fun things. But with very little structure in our days, my kids were bickering a little bit more than normal, more than I care to admit. And so I realized I want to work on character building with them, and I mean, I can trust them for the most part, they can trust me, but I want them to be able to trust each other and really get into like being friends again more on a normal basis. Not that they're not, like they work well together, but it always can just be improved. And so we're gonna do some character building. I'm gonna do some character building and just make sure what we are saying, we are thinking about it, being intentional about what we say before we say it, and being able to trust our siblings, because I think that's super important. Next up, a homeschool wife. Now, I used to be like, yes, I'm a wife, but when it comes to homeschooling, it's always on my mind. So like we could be sitting down as a family and a movie comes on, or we're watching a documentary. I'm like, oh, dude, let's talk about this or this, like pausing the show. And sometimes I just need to be a wife and just hang out with my family. When my husband's home and we want to watch a movie at night together, I don't need to be also cutting paper or prepping or planning. I just need to be present and not always multitasking. So I pick my 2 nights a week for the most part. Sundays in the middle of the day I'll do some work, but mostly on Tuesday nights and Thursday nights are my nights to work, and he'll know that. And all the other nights is just me being a wife. And so that is my goal, is that I will stick to it. Going back to the consistency, I'm going to be consistent in putting that first and realizing that I don't always have to be multitasking. I don't always have to be doing something for homeschooling. Whether I enjoy it or not, like I also enjoy other things. Oh, and I missed one on being a homeschool mom. So in the homeschool mom, we talked about character building. With that, we do a lot of services or chores in our house. We call them services because we're all part of a family. We all serve one another. And I want to make sure that I'm not putting that above other things, because I catch myself doing that sometimes. I really like a clean house. Clutter makes my head chaotic and I can go off the wall, and then my angry mom comes in and I just don't like that person. And so that goes back to the consistency of our schedule and making sure that we're holding each other accountable. So that's character building. It all just ties into each other. But the main one is going to be really, for me, not making everything about cleaning, and our character building when it comes to intentionally using our words for the greater good, intentionally building people up, intentionally thinking before we speak. And so I wanted to add that one in there because I do like a clean house, and my kids do contribute to cleaning the house quite a bit. And sometimes I can be a little too critical when it comes to that, and I need to remember that they're young and that's not their main job. So that's a flaw in myself that I have also been working on when it comes to being a homeschooling mother. If you guys are working on any goals, I would love to hear them, or what your yearly goal is for this school year. Leave them in the comments below. I would love to chit chat with you. If it helps, break it down in categories. I think this really helped me not feel so overwhelmed and get back into like the love of learning again. We are not really doing that much when it comes to curriculum, but I do feel, because there was a lot of new, I started getting overwhelmed and trying to figure out what the schedule is really going to look like and all of that stuff. And just to remember that it's an ebb and flow, and we have the flexibility to change if we need to, but we don't always have to be changing, and we don't always have to be multitasking. Thanks again for being here, and I would love, again, leave a chat with me in the comments below with your goals this year. If you like videos like this, hit the subscribe button. I would love for you to join the family, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye, friends.